Hello everyone and welcome back to Ash of God's Redemption, and let's just continue where we left off. Okay, sure. Thorn's escape causes you no grief, but to your surprise the others do not look upset either. Their grim countenance seems forced. Tell me, Shek, have you already sent people after Thorn? What's new in the city? Sorry to disturb you, but you've got to understand, we're not here of our own accord. Royal orders.
Something is afoot. For one thing, Thorn flees, and then Bran Victi leaves Ursus in a hurry with all his men in tow. Didn't tell anyone where he was headed. Good riddance. He isn't too comfortable riding, and they say got kicked in the privates.
I mean, technically, we know that. What do you have against the young Victi?
A real meddler, that's what he is. He persuaded the king to let his mercenaries patrol the streets while my own men guard the palace and mop up the abominations in the woods. As a result, there have been several scuffles already, with fatal casualties, I might add.
I'll be damned. Were any citizens killed? He just said fatal casualties.
Praise the gods, no.
Okay, I guess not citizens then.
But it was frightful. The thugs tried to stop Thorn, but they were no match for him. They all perished, and let me tell you, had it been the other way around, I wouldn't have let that slug Bran escape the city.
Wait a moment. Are you saying that if it were not for Bran's men, Thor could have run into your guards?
Oh, that makes sense. Then I owe Bran Victi a debt. You sure know how to ruin a moment, Ake.
Yeah, that is one way of looking at it. Who beat Bran?
By all indications, his own bodyguard. You've seen the pretty twins hanging around him, haven't you? One of them has done it. Bran jailed her without my knowledge, but she's not in her cell right now. She's escaped along with her sister and Thorn.
You can't be thinking that Bran conspired with Thorn. They're old enemies and can't stand each other. No, must be something more devious. Yeah, like he set it all up, most likely. The insidious Bran.
It's devious as it is. Something doesn't quite add up. Would Bran set Thorn free only to chase him across the city afterwards?
Why not?
He would be seen as the hero who brought Thorn to justice.
Or something like that.
Perhaps the girls had quarreled with Victi and then helped Thorn escape just to spite their former employer?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Could be. This is as clear as mud, I gather. Bran is going to chase after Thorn now. He's lost so many men already, and all for naught. Are you going to send anyone after Thorn?
I'm gathering a company. Slowly. My men are still busy purging the abominations from the outskirts. I sent word by pigeon to everyone involved, but I'm in no rush to set out myself. I'll wait for Prince Trig and do as he decides.
Mustn't we avenge spilled royal blood?
That was an ends. God's willing, Prince Ho will recover. He can judge Thorn's actions then. It wasn't Thorn who spilled his blood, and if he doesn't, chaos will break loose and all our plans will go awry.
Do you know where Thorn's daughter has disappeared to?
We searched the house where Thorn had been hiding, but found no trace of Gleda, nor of Unda's daughter, Philia.
Who's the same person?
They haven't been seen at the gate, and then again, stranger things have happened as of late.
May I examine that house? I might find a clue.
A clue wouldn't hurt. I started digging into the matter, and it turned out that nobody had seen Unda for the past several years, nor is anyone certain about her daughter Philia either. We can go to their house straight away if you'd like.
Well, let's visit this Unda's house.
There is something I'd like to discuss with you first.
Why are you looking at me as if I'm the one hanging in the balance? Are you going to offer a deal? I've heard that you're unbribable, so it cannot be about the money. What is it then? How can I be of service to you, Commander of the Guard?
I asked around about you, Hopper. You are a man of many talents, it seems. I have a favor to ask of you. Not to worry, no town hall breaking is involved, but you are a healer, are you not? Could you take a look at our prince? His ailment is awfully strange. Perhaps you could heal him?
I would happily do it, considering the trust His Highness put in me, but aren't the best physicians already treating the prince? I will also point out that no one would let a vagabond such as myself anywhere near the palace. Even if I were to offer my services, His Majesty would surely shoo me off.
Aye, court physicians are so full of themselves, they'll eat their own spatulas before they let someone off the street visit the prince. At this rate, they'll overtreat him to death, and they're doing just that right now. Even sorcerers licensed by the temple couldn't help one damn bit.
Wait a moment. Why did they bring in the sorcerers? Is Prince Ho's ailment of a magical nature?
That's as much as these quacks managed to figure out. Listen, didn't the cardinal himself carry you out of the rubble in his arms? You must be very useful, and you must know a lot about enchantments. You also seem trustworthy, which is why I've turned to you.
Well, I am definitely gonna try to help Ho. It is my healer's duty, and I will do it without pay. We need to find a way of getting into the prince's chambers. I gather that even the commander of the guard cannot bring in strangers.
Let that be my concern. If you like, you can see Unda while you're waiting.
Hopper, I've no desire to visit Unda or her daughter. I'd rather take on 100 Frisian soldiers than have a staring contest with a single witch. I'll wait for you here. Alright. Okay, so we can talk to Teak. Or Ake. Go to Unda's house. Or... but that is with Ho. I would like to get at least these two out of the way first. Don't know. But I should probably do that one as well before that. Maybe. I don't know. Sure, let's do this. Teak's in. The innkeeper knew Thorn. He might provide some useful details. Aha! Sir Scribe! Would you like a bite to eat or something to wet your whistle? I've got both. Neither, Master Innkeeper. I have a question. You know that I arrived in search of Thorn Brennan and discovered something curious. Tell me, how did he quarrel with his brother-in-law, Branvikti? They've been enemies for some 20-odd years. Whenever those two meet, it's like throwing fresh kindling on glowing embers. What kind of embers are those? I've heard it's about some sort of inheritance?
Well, it could be about the inheritance now, but I'm not an Odalan scribe to tell you for certain. I only know that Branvikti has been bearing a grudge against his sister, Leaky Victi, the mother of Thorn's children.
But Thorn's wife perished. There is no one to hold a grudge against. Yes, I heard that she'd perished. It would anger Bran even more. I reckon he'll not rest till he strangles Thorn's offspring. This Bran turned out to be a rotten bastard. Well, that's all I wanted to know. See you, Teak. Alright, it might be a good idea to talk to Ake about the Cardinal. Listen, my friend, I'm not asking you to spill out your soul, but I want no misunderstandings between us. You are keeping an eye on me, aren't you? Who sent you? Was it Prince Trig or Koronson? You're good at sword fighting and town hall destroying, Hopper, just as you're good at reading people. Well, I'll not lie. It was Koronson who asked me for a favor. What kind of favor was it? The Cardinal wouldn't ask for something trivial, I suppose. Do you report my every step to the Cardinal? Why in Terminum would he want to know about your steps, especially every single one of them? How could I possibly report them to him? I'll be damned if I know. Trust me, if Koronson wants you to report to him, he'll find you anywhere. And did Koronson give you any orders regarding the prince? How could you even say that? Koronson may be angry with his highness, but he is a cardinal, not a highway murderer. Do you really think I'm capable of something like this? I'd soon end my own life. Yes, it's a bit hard to believe. Great warriors usually don't run errands like this. Maybe he's asked you to stab me in the back, eh? Why would I do that? Well, if you made an attempt on the prince's life or something stupid like that, I'd do it without asking, but things being as they are, what in damnation? I did not sign up for murder. Good. You know cardinals, they're a weird bunch. Yes, he carried me out of the rubble, but even a cat can drag a mouse out of a puddle. His reasons for doing so, however... Or does Koronson have his own stake in this game? Actually, he does. But it's just so absurd, you wouldn't believe it. Truthfully, at first I couldn't even make sense of what he was asking. But the most important thing is, this favor of his won't affect my service to Girana. Believe me, Ake, some things aren't as silly as they seem, and the Cardinal is definitely not stupid. Then tell me, Hopper, why is Koronson looking for Gleda? He said something absurd, like, Thorn can do what he may. Prince Ho is of no importance, but the girl must be kept safe. He told me to make sure she gets to Opacum. What can you say about that? I don't know what to tell you, Ake. I can think of one reason. The girl may be of use to the temple. As for Opacum, it's a special place, Ake. The reaping has never hit Opacum in full force. Perhaps I should be going. Okay, well, Unda's house. This is where Thorn's daughter was last seen. If she's left any trace, it would be here. Shek fumbles with his keys, opens the door, and enters Unda's house, explaining all the while. The abominations hid in the house. Had it not been for Thorn, they would have caused more trouble. Philia and Gleda, however, disappeared. How and where they went, I cannot fathom. You take in the humble furnishings of a traditional Burkanan dwelling. Could she have escaped through the roof or a secret passage within the house? Shek smiles into his mustache. The house was surrounded. Guards posted in every yard of the block. We then left no stone unturned. We rapped on walls and lifted floorboards. We didn't find anyone. I'm starting to think that Philia and that other girl were simply not there. Oh, they were. You fetch a stool for Shek. Have a seat while I take a look around. If you don't mind, of course. Don't worry, I shan't keep you long, nor will you have to carry me out of the rubble, I promise. Funny. Okay. A massive stone table. You see a stone table, most likely used to prepare potion ingredients. Inspect the table. Having carefully examined the table, you notice scratch marks on the flagstone to which it is attached. What caused them is unclear. Sounds like it's been moved. You know, I've watched a lot of CSI episodes, and that sounds like, the scraping when you move something heavy. Move the table? You try to move the table with success. Underneath it, a ladder descends into the darkness. A small scroll is attached to the first rung. You snatched it before Shek approaches you. The commander shakes his head, then points out an inscription on the bottom side of the trapdoor. You recognize the handwriting from the double menhir.
And if you do not burn out, carry it.
Shek shrugs.
Pure witchcraft. Let's go. This place gives me the creeps.
You unroll the scroll, making sure Shek can't see you. For some reason, you're certain that it's meant for you. The writing is from the same hand. Your path leads to the west. May you not shy away from tall buildings. Mean like a white tower? And may you remember old friends and ancient enemies alike. Okay. As you leave Unda's house, Shek addresses you.
What a catch! Congratulations, Hopper. I never would have found that cellar myself.
You nod. This is where Gleda was hiding. She waited till everyone left and then escaped. Looking for her will be like looking for a needle in a haystack, but I will still try. You notice Shek's frown and reassure him. I remember my promise, Shek. I will do what I can. How much longer till we can get into the palace? The commander of the guard shrugs.
Now is a good time to leave. The riot guards are on duty and the king's physicians have left.
Good. As you walk through the arched corridors of the palace, you realize that without Shek, you would have been lost. Of course, the king's palace in Jera is grander, but it is still too easy to make a wrong turn in the maze of long corridors. The guards are obviously Shek's men. They pretend you are not even there. You enter the prince's chamber and find an old woman beside his bed.
Hopper, this is Tant, the prince's nurse. She has raised him from infancy and will do anything to save him now. She won't betray us. Come on, healer, do your part. Ake, please stand guard at the door and listen closely, just in case. You're no help with enchantments in any case.
This is not what I expected to find. How could the daughter of a self-taught healer weave an enchantment such as this? She is no ordinary woman. Regardless, I'll now attempt to sort it out.
Do your thing, Hopper. I will talk to Philia when I find her. Just give me the time to do it. After our chat, she will be happy to withdraw her enchantments and place them on herself.
You should thank Philia when you see her. Her enchantment is not killing the prince. It is merely putting him to sleep. For a healthy man, it would have meant death, but for a mortally wounded one, it prolongs his life. Its final moments stretched into minutes, hours, even days.
Are you saying she swapped a quick death for a slow one? Should we all bow down to her in praise? What are we to do? You did well sorting out the enchantment, but how can we save the prince?
I've not sorted it out. One cannot comprehend such intricate weaving at a glance. Step back and let me concentrate. I need to make a sketch of this pattern. And by the gods, hold your tongues. It's been a long while since you last saw such a sophisticated pattern. Several minutes pass in leaden silence, but you still cannot fully comprehend its properties. You will have to play it by ear, or the consequences for Prince Ho may be dire. What you are about to do is dangerous, but it's better than doing nothing. You begin to unweave the spell, but something goes wrong. Oh boy. The enchantment resists you, tightens its coils around the prince, and drains his vigor. You fight this alien magic for several minutes, but finally have to admit to yourself that you have fallen into a trap. You pull yourself together and make a difficult confession. I cannot destroy this enchantment, only transfer it to another. It will not cling to me, and even if it does, it might rebound to the prince again. One of you will have to make this sacrifice. Oh wow. Shek smirks.
Why waste one of us? Let me bring some thug from the dungeon and use him. We'll even clear him of all charges and set up a monument for him posthumously.
You do not even have the energy to face the commander. It's a splendid idea, but we only have a few minutes, if not seconds. Who is willing to do it? What about the nurse? Your companions are frozen in silence. Their feelings are understandable. It's one thing to die for one's prince in battle or shielding him from an assassin's blade, but it's something else entirely to succumb to a silent and obscure death such as this. You will have to pick the one to do it. I mean, sorry, Shek, but I'm gonna go with you. The commander meets your gaze and turns pale, but he regains composure almost immediately.
Cast it on to me, Hopper, he says. Such a death is honorable for any warrior. You can leave the palace the same way you came.
You nod to the warrior, showing respect. As you say, all you need to do is touch my hands. The enchantment will do. Before you can finish, the old nurse, who had been standing in silence near Prince Ho, rushes toward you. Nobody manages to stop Tant. She grabs your hands and locks eyes with you, allowing you to witness the very moment the flicker of life disappears from hers. You watch in shock as the old woman's body collapses to the floor. You can barely move your lips. Did you see it? She grabbed me by the hands herself. Trying to hide his relief, Shek shakes his head.
She turned out to be the bravest among us. Dear gods. Look, Prince Ho, he's opening his eyes, he's waking up.
You look at the prince intensely to make sure that all enchantments have been undone. Well, that's wonderful. I haven't taken a life in vain. Your prince will live, in better health than ever. Well, I'm glad for that. You're interrupted by a bell tolling gravely. The commander of the guard listens with apprehension, turns pale, and says,
You should leave the palace. The guards will tell you where to go. I must stay. Dear gods, I think the king is dead.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, we knew that would happen because we'd already found out about it before. But yeah. All affairs in Ursus are settled, and it's time to move on. Shek catches up with you, having almost reached Ursus' gates. The commander looks worried, anxious, and slightly taken aback. It seems that he has something important to tell you. He gestures for you to ride up to him. Shek whispers loudly. Then it's not really a whisper. Anyway.
I didn't want to tell you this. You might take me for a madman, but there is so much insanity around anyway. A couple of days ago, an old woman appeared at the gate. Her frame was fragile, but her eyes were young, quite peculiar. In a way, she looked like Unda, and in a way, she didn't.
Shek looks around nervously.
She told me that if I see the scribe, I should tell him one word. Frigga.
Tall building.
White tower.
You thank Shek and leave the city. There is plenty to ponder as you ride on. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. Please consider leaving a like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!